Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth Walker, your producer and host, bringing you exclusive spotlights, interviews, articles, free resources. This is Dear Business Coach, the podcast. Listen, follow, and the email subscription is at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Also, access the free magazine each week. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, Stones Moyo, thank you for coming today to the Dear Business Coach podcast. And how are you today?
I'm very good, and thank you for having me on the podcast again.
Yeah, I have been actually planning on having you back on the show. And now it's been a little bit over a year maybe, or about a year maybe. So listeners, Stones has been on the podcast before as a music production expert, and I actually am really curious to know what's going on in your business. So anyway, so how, Stones, would you introduce yourself today?
Um, I'll introduce myself as a rapper, producer, a digital entrepreneur. Um, what title am I forgetting? I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But I'm a person who's in the music space, and I'm trying to navigate the music business as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I find it fascinating that you are leading with your title as rapper, and I mean this as a compliment. So I'm leading up to a question here, because in my experience with musicians that are rappers, maybe in the United States, I don't hear a lot of people saying that. I don't hear a lot of artists saying I'm a rapper, and I think maybe there are reasons for that, like to come off as a professional you might not want to call yourself a rapper. And so a lot of people say, I'm a
Yeah,
producer, which is also true, right? Because if you're a studio artist, that's what you're doing, is producing music. So that is sometimes 100% the case. And, um, but in terms of coming to, like, let's say you were at a networking event or a conference or something, you would say, I think you're a rapper. That's what you've told me on a podcast interview. And so are there reasons why you distinguish yourself as not just an artist, but you call yourself a rapper?
Um, there isn't necessarily a reason. It's just comes off automatically, but I do understand why most people wouldn't just say it out loud, because there's a certain stigma around rappers that is there. But I know that I don't carry that stigma with me because I'm not that. So, and also mainly it's how I get paid. I get paid from rapping a whole lot, so I don't shy away from it a whole lot.
Yeah, good. Okay, so that's great. So yeah, this might be a challenging question, right? That's why I said this is a compliment first,
Yeah.
because uh, yeah, right. If you don't tell me you're a rapper first, then I don't know what kind of music you do. So that's really amazing, actually. So you do get hired or asked to collaborate as a rapper. I mean, that is what you do vocally. You're obviously very talented at it. So, okay, well, I was just curious because I love asking people questions like that, but especially when it makes you stand out, or um for some people that could be risky, and for you that's an asset. So
Yeah.
that's
Uh, the
that's very cool.
The one thing I realize is if I don't bring it to the forefront, then I'm missing out a whole lot of opportunities where people are looking for people like me.
Yeah. Wow. So we are partnered. The Dear Business Coach podcast is now officially partnered with NordVPN. And you know what? Look out for the logo, some press releases, cool information. What in the heck is a VPN and how does it work? I'm really excited. I travel and now I know how to get the VPN security I need. So, Nord is now officially our affiliate partner. Look out for ways to support the show by going to the affiliate link I provide to you in your email and other places you can see it on the website. Thanks so much, NordVPN.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually had a conversation with an artist at some point. I don't remember if it was before or around the time that I had met you. And I was thinking about music for the podcast. And I was thinking about what kind of music would what kind of music would make sense for the podcast introduction and background. And the things that I want or that I think about, I'm afraid to tell people. Like, I like Afro-Cuban beats. I like rap music. I like hip hop stuff. And so it's funny to say that to somebody I'm talking to an artist and they're coming to me thinking, okay, well, she's got a podcast, she has a business podcast, she probably needs something that sounds like a corporate transformation journey on a business video. And I absolutely detest that kind of music. It just drives me nuts. Maybe it's how many videos that I've had to sit through with music like that, and I can't stand it. And so when I hear music like that, it turns me off. I have to, I can't do it. So, when I've posed that question, I've shared that with musical folks before, thinking, can you make something for me for my video or my promotional video or my podcast intro or outro that would have beats? I want drums and beats, and I want that kind of a feel. And it's really not something that a lot of folks in my arena who make music for things that I do, that's not very common. They just kind of the answer is just kind of like, what? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't have stuff like that. And so, I had purchased a few songs from you and tried a couple of them out and landed on one. And this is July Fireworks, I believe, is the one that I have settled on for the um, intro and the segment. So it's now the segment opener, or I'm sorry, it's the beginning sound for commercial breaks and the intro and the outro. So, I mean,
I was pleased when
yeah.
I was super glad. I was like, oh wow, look at me, national now.
Yeah, international now. So anyway, I've done too much talking, but I wanted to share that with folks because it's not easy to find uh, music with a beat, right? That is readily available to us in the business media format. So I was lucky to find you, and you were already advertising to podcasts in general.
Yeah.
So what is it going on now? Is that happening for you? Are you still interested in doing commercial media like that, or what are you working on now?
So I'm still very much in that field and still very much interested. I've done a couple of intros for YouTube's. I've lost count. So most of the times I run into the instrumentals and I'm like, oh, I forgot that I actually did that because I've done so many of them. Um, but what I'm also currently working on, just besides working on music for podcasts and businesses, I'm working on and my second album because I put out my first album last year in December,
Yes.
titled The Build Up Session, that is available on my Bandcamp. So I'm working on the next one, and the goal for the next one is to get 1,000 people are willing to just spend $1 on it. So
Oh,
that's more of the journey that I'm on because Spotify numbers when it comes to payments is really low. So if I can get 1,000 people to spend $1 on my album, it goes a very long way. So that's what I've been working on, just besides working on music for business and podcasts.
Hey, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to email if you haven't already. Do this at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. And if you are a new subscriber, look for the magazine coming up. You can get a free download as a new subscriber. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, you are a superstar. Wow. Well, this
Yeah.
is so I can go to your Bandcamp page right now, Stones Moyo, STONESMOYO, and see your album and pay $1 to contribute to it.
Yeah. So it's pay $1, but the way I set it up is I set it up in a way that if there's a person who wants to pay more than $1, they have the option to do it.
Yeah, so that's cool. So I saw that you've done that with your other work previously, and I felt when I went to your page to buy a couple of songs, I think maybe one or two I did go ahead and pay whatever you were asking for, or which was a couple dollars, and then maybe another one I felt like I wasn't paying you enough, and and so I feel like, this is always a huge question for people who are charging money for things. Do I charge a little bit? Do I charge a lot? And it seems like you have landed on, for you, exposure, and especially to say something like 1,000 people to spend $1 is really catchy. Is that working? Or people are people like finding that to be entertaining and coming to your page and checking it out?
I think one of the most important thing for me my thought process behind it was I want to meet people where they are, you
Mm,
know? So there's a person who doesn't have $10 to spend on my music, but has $1. So I wanted to give them an option to still be able to have access to my music, even if they have $1. You know, preferable, I would want someone to spend $10 or more, but
mm.
don't have that $10, let them have the option of paying whatever they have. So that was the thought process behind it. It was to try to cater for everyone, even if they don't have that much money. You know,
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel
it's
like,
also a pledge, right? Somebody to support you adds to the numbers.
especially when you're in the building process, like right now, I'm trying to build an audience for myself, and I'm trying to get as many people as I can, and I don't want them to break their back just to support me. So I give them the option to say, hey, I'm only charging $1, but if you want to pay more, you have that option. But now I'm welcoming people into my world, into my audience, and into my community, and saying, okay, getting into my community is not a very hard thing to do. So I didn't want it to be difficult to get into my community. I wanted it to be easy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Make it easy. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Make it easy for me to click, sign up, and pay and go. And that's what
very
I want to do. That's what I want to do. Yeah, if I want, I want to say yes, and so make it easy for me to say yes.
yeah. But the other thought process that I had when setting it up was with Bandcamp, when people are buying, it gives me access to whoever is buying the music. I therefore can tell them about my music whenever it's coming out again. So with things like Spotify and your YouTubes, your Apple, it shows me maybe I have 1,000 streams off my album, but I have no idea who's streaming the music, which is very hard when you're trying to sell the music again. It's hard to
Yes.
track, hard to even know, okay, from the 1,000 people, are these 1,000 people, are they people who are really serious about engaging with my music, or is 1,000 people who randomly bumped into my music? So that's why I set it up that way, was to collect data of the people who are willing to support the music.
That is brilliant. I agree. Yeah, I have a challenge with that myself too. I often think about that with like you said Spotify, and it's uh for monetization it seems sort of odd, right, that I feel like I have to pick if I want to build numbers on a platform like Spotify with the Dear Business Coach podcast. I can do that. I can tell people to follow, and it looks good if at some point I get to look big enough that advertisers want to
Yeah.
work with me. However, exactly what you just said, I don't know who those people are. It's kind of an odd situation.
Because
So how am I going to even, yeah, reach out to them? So exactly.
your page will tell you that you have 100 followers and you have 1,000 streams. How do you even track that?
Right. I don't know.
That was my way. I need to know who my fans are. I need to know that I have the option of reaching out whenever I'm selling maybe t-shirts, I'm selling um my new album, like the one that I'm working on that I'm planning to release right now. From the last album, I didn't have that much data. So now with this one, I'm really trying to collect more data so that I could know who exactly I'm making this music for.
Hmm. Well, now, did you have this insight on your own? Did you find this out through making mistakes? Did you have somebody who was able to sort of give you some insight to that? How did you come to this realization?
So over the years, some of it is my own insight, some of it is stuff that I've picked up from other people. I think last time I talked about La Russell. I also talk about Ryan Leslie because he was way ahead of it in terms of talking about how much he doesn't know about the people who are engaging with the music.
Mm.
And from my own end, it was now I released my first EP, Thinking About You. So there was a lot of engagement that happened there. But my issue is the next time that I needed to release, I couldn't find the people that had engaged with it the first time.
Hmm.
I didn't have that option of engaging with them the first time. It felt like I missed out on a very big opportunity there to have people that will be part of my community, but I didn't quite cater for them because I really didn't know who they were, or I really didn't have a database of who these people were to give them updates on what's happening.
Wow. Yeah, try. So yeah, you did. You learned it the hard way.
Yeah. Mm.
So where, you know what I forgot to ask you, where am I talking to you from today?
Still in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Because I'm coming to you from Virginia today. Sometimes I travel, sometimes I do these interviews from other places. So I always find it fun to talk. So you're in
Right.
Zimbabwe today.
Zimbabwe.
You know,
Wow.
what do you think is what do you think is fun for me? Like why do you think I'm attracted to your music? I saw you on a group board or in a group on Facebook, I think, and started listening to your music. And um I mean, I can tell you I already was interested in international guests for the podcast, but what do you remember thinking like, why did I become interested in your music? Did that ever come across your mind?
I guess my only guess is I make my music to be user friendly.
Hmm.
As much as I'm a rapper and there's a stereotype that rappers say wild things, um, I think my music is friendly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you are right about that.
Yeah, a couple of people that say that to me.
Well, I am going to say it again. When I went to look for your music to purchase, I found it to be really simple. And so your goal of making it easy is working. I think also you have uh, spread out your your work into different moods too. So I can very easily, just by looking at kind of your artwork and the album covers, it's easy to navigate around your page to think, okay, like you're very good at the titles of your music for someone like me, and thinking about it in terms of professional space. I can kind of look at your page and go, okay, that one's an up. That's kind of like upbeat summertime feel. This one over here is a little more hardcore. And I'm not sure how you managed to do that, but I feel like it's also easy to look at your work to browse as far as the artwork. Now, how do you does that actually come into play for you? Do you think about the artwork and how that displays on your page to attract people to click and listen?
When it comes to artwork, especially for full projects, whether it's an album or an EP, I always want the cover to sort of tell the story behind the music. It's like with my first EP, Thinking About You, it was like a cartoon with um what do they call that thing? I'm forgetting, but it was supposed to like simulate what was I'm thinking about.
Hmm.
So now you find roses, you find that I'm also thinking about money, I'm also thinking about all these other things. So whoever sees that cover immediately gets a feel of whatever I'm going to be talking about in this project or single. That's what I always try to do. I want the cover to represent what I'm talking about in some sort of way.
Yeah. Now, do you have help with that? Do you design it yourself, or do you have somebody dedicated for that?
With the first EP, somebody else did it, but I gave them the idea on how they were supposed to do it. And then with the album, I did it myself. The
Mm.
album was titled The Build Up Session, so I wanted the background to be like a construction site to say that I'm in a bitter phase in my life. I'm trying to build my my career. I'm trying to build my business and everything. So when you look at the cover, there's a construction. That construction site represents whatever I'm trying to build.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, this is fun. Now, what about your ebook? That was really good. You had an ebook out the first time we talked over a year ago, and I didn't know that until you came to the interview. Because I didn't know that until you told me during the interview. So I want to make sure that if you have anything like that available, I can plug that for you. But yeah, I mean that ebook was fantastic. So are you still making that available?
Yes, it's still available, but I'm changing platforms because I had issues with the last platform I was using. You bought the ebook, I remember, but I never got the cash from that because the platform
Oh.
was and everything. So I'm changing platforms. So I'm still gonna be having more ebooks because I've had more experiences along the way.
Yeah, I would definitely do that because I would be interested to check that out. And so that I assume would be I don't is can you publish and sell the ebook through Bandcamp? No?
No, Bandcamp doesn't have
Okay.
an so I'm trying to sell it through Linktree, but
Okay.
Link telling me that I need to be in a different country because of restrictions where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I don't know I don't know anything about that.
out here, but we learn to figure things out by ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is interesting. It is actually really interesting to find out where what tools are accessible to folks in what places and why. And I learn a lot by talking to folks that are all over the world because I also want to be able to use tools that other people can use and that are user friendly where you are. And so I'm sometimes surprised about what I run across where folks will say, I don't have the option to access that. And so anyway, okay, so the ebook, I'm excited to know when that's going to become available again. Now, what about your production process? So since you have created a whole lot more work since we talked. I want to know, has your process changed? Have you changed what kind of um, equipment or studio do you use, or are you kind of actually doing, are you still using the same equipment that you started out with?
So, in terms of equipment, because of how technology is moving, you're forced to just upgrade. Where as much as the last time we talked, I was using a whole different laptop. I had to get another laptop, and now I need to get another one because things keep on changing, and we constantly need to improve. My production process has slightly improved. Still working on improving it some more by trying to expand on the business so that I'm able to get like better equipment. Now we in the streaming era and we need to be streaming more and being visible in places like TikTok and Instagram. So all that now is literally changing how we work. Um, we get more clients by being visible.
Mm-hmm.
So now we literally have to be producing in front of the camera and letting people process and all that. And I guess to a certain degree, it makes people believers and wanting into buy whatever we create.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, this is the kind of thing that business coaches are teaching, well, at least the circles that I am in. I go to a couple meetings a week and listen to people talk and share. And sharing your process is a huge selling point if you can do it.
Yeah.
If you can remember to record yourself while you're working, that's really difficult. So what do you do? Do you set up a separate camera? Do you have a separate device that you do that with, or how do you do that?
But for now, I'm just using my phone. So I'm hoping that when the business improves, I'm able to get like a separate camera and everything because the gear is also pricey. As
Mhm.
much doing it with the phone is convenient and that people engage with it, you always want to do it at a high quality so that people can see how professional you are.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I still like my phone better than a lot of the expensive equipment, and that's why I ask, because I'm wondering. I got asked recently. Actually, my daughter asked me recently. uh I was redoing my podcast room a little bit, and she asked me, so are you going to set it up with more bells and whistles, as we say? And I just thought, actually no, because because this is so much easier to just stick with the phone. However, uh just the fact that I might want a second camera. That's this is kind of a joke, right? But I've often thought, well, I just need another cell phone. So I put another cell phone on a tripod. So I just wonder what you, yeah, I wonder, maybe you do everything on your phone too. I don't know.
But the thing is, the phone has limitations
Okay.
sometimes. Um,
Hmm.
there is a whole lot of things that you can do with the phone, with the technology that it's actually more easier than being on the phone
Mm.
because you control it from maybe a separate place where you're controlling your camera with with your laptop and stuff like that, and you're able to see what's happening and all that. And sometimes the phone can, because the processing is not strong enough, it can just switch off on you anytime.
Uh-huh.
So that's a disadvantage. It's easier with more equipment, but I get what you're saying that sometimes it's easier with just your phone.
Yeah.
It's really easy because you're just turning it on and everything.
Yeah. So I don't have any sort of audio engineering experience, although my dad's a musician, my sister's a musician, and I wasn't I didn't get into that. I wasn't really blessed with the musical mind, but I do some things, I have an ear for. But I can tell you that audio is really important. Like I
Yeah.
experience things through audio in a particular way. And I know there are a lot of people like that. In fact, I had, or I'm finding more of that. In fact, I had a podcast guest who she did not want the interview on video at all because she's just said, yes, I want to do an interview, but I will talk. I don't want to be on camera. And I thought, well, that's good for her for saying that and coming to the interview anyway, and it worked out fine. And it just got me thinking that there are people out there that care about audio. And so when you are testing your audio, do you are there, I'm sure there are ways that you can check for like how your music is mastered, are the levels the way that you want them to be and things like that. However, I bet there are some amateur tricks that you have. For example, when I'm listening to a playback of myself speaking, I not necessarily listening for like if I like my voice or not, but I'll just make sure that the audio file is coming through okay on different kinds of formats. So I'll take an interview and I might listen to it. I might make a recording with the microphone, with an external microphone, and without. And then I might play those two different recordings on different speakers. So I'll go sit in my car and I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it on like a Bluetooth speaker in my house. And then I'll also listen to it just on the phone speaker. And those are kind of my gauges for, is it okay? Is it good enough to release no matter how somebody's playing it? Is it going to sound okay? And so, are there any tricks like that for how you can test yourself? Do you do
So,
anything like that?
when you say that you're not born with anything musical and everything, you were lying.
Okay.
But, that's exactly what we do when we're testing out the music.
Mm,
We know, does the music translate on the phone? Does it translate on the laptop? Does it translate on other systems? And all that. So these are like little things that we do, and especially for phones, you just have to make sure that your mid range is clear so that it comes out. Sometimes you listen to podcasts and the music is louder than the person was actually speaking because they didn't factor that the music needs to be cut off at certain frequencies so that the vocals come through. But the thing
mm,
that you were saying about testing it out on Bluetooth speakers and playing it on the phone and all these other different mediums of playing music is very important. That way, okay, most majority of people are either listening to via Bluetooth or laptop speakers.
mhm.
So if it's audible there, I think that's what counts, especially for things like podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, very helpful. You're exactly right. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I was watching a television show, a documentary. I love documentaries, and documentaries have a lot of risk for that background music to be too loud. And I've had to turn off a show once or twice because I just couldn't concentrate on what the person was saying because the background music was too loud.
Yeah.
Right. Well, good. Okay, so that's helpful. Now, I'm sure that okay, I know that you have your new album. So we want to talk about this. So your second album is the Build Obsession. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So the Build Obsession is available for me to go right now to Bandcamp and I can pay whatever I want. But Stone's your goal is to get 1,000 people to pay $1 and to contribute $1.
Yeah.
That's doable. Okay. So, well, I want to do that right now. And also, you have are you still promoting in groups? Like, are you still advertising that way too? Are there social media places where you are active that people can find you as well?
So I'm still trying to promote more on groups, though I haven't been quite serious as I should be. But I'm trying to do what I usually do more of promotion is usually my TikTok and my Instagram. I
Hmm.
try a whole lot there. And I recently discovered that also going live is a very good promotional tool. So I'm also trying to do lives as much as I can. So there's going to be a live where I'm going to do like a virtual concert so that people can attend, and I'm going to have options where people can send gifts, they can purchase my merch and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to do more of.
That's what I should do. I like, so where's your favorite place to go live?
It definitely has to be TikTok for me right now because TikTok has a way of um people being able to give you gifts, and I'm forgetting what they call it, but you can take those gifts and convert them into money. So that's my favorite thing about TikTok. Though I'm not at the level where people are giving me a lot of gifts, I'm building towards it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think that TikTok is a credible place to be for like folks that are buying your music for like podcasts, for example, or for television or for movies? I am curious to know, do you get to engage with the people that you want there too? I imagine so.
Yeah, you get to engage with people there. So because I've been in a whole lot of other people's lives and seeing how they do things. So what I'm trying to do now is besides just trying to engage with people that are willing to buy the music, I'm also trying to create engagement with people that are into the space that I am in.
Mm.
So I'm going to have a live sometime next week where I'm talking about my journey on Fiverr, and I'm targeting people that want to get on the platform of Fiverr who are looking for knowledge on how things work and everything. So that's what the live is going to be about. So usually when you're teaching, you also end up finding people who also want to engage with your music. So I try to have more things where it's more than just me just always just maybe making music on live. I also try to teach on my live so that people can keep on coming back and engaging.
Yeah. Well, you're easy to listen to, and I'm curious always about what is behind the scenes. People love behind the scenes, and especially if you're teaching or giving, yeah, like you said, giving teaching something. You know, you actually are making me think about something that I I somebody recently told me, that in terms of social media and how you gain exposure and how you use the social media platforms, they're made for different things. They were designed for different things. So for example, my social media manager, she said she had an interview on this show, and she said that Instagram and Facebook, for example, were never meant for business. And I think of TikTok like that too, even though I realize that there's a huge way to monetize yourself on TikTok. I still think of TikTok as an entertainment place. And so you just told me that your favorite place to go live in an educational way is on
Yeah.
TikTok. So this is like going against, professional advice. And so I just, and by the way, my social media manager didn't tell me don't use TikTok. I'm just making my own inferences here. So in terms of crossing those worlds, right? I understand that music is entertainment, and so you can come to people as an entertainer on TikTok, and that works. But then all of a sudden you're going live and you're teaching something. And that must be really and really That must really bring people to your page or really draw them in, because now all of a sudden I want to know who the person is. So you're kind of creating like a juxtaposition. It's something different than they're used to seeing on your page. Is it also something different than they're used to seeing on TikTok in general, do you think?
I hear the argument when people are saying that certain platforms are not for business and stuff like that. But my whole belief is you never know who's watching.
Mm,
Try to utilize it. So um I think the best thing that one can do is try it out and see what works. Most of the times we shy away from certain platforms because we've been told these platforms don't work. But for me, it's otherwise because I met a lady on TikTok just this week. Her name is Cash Flows. I'm forgetting her handle, but she was on that live teaching people about how TikTok works and everything. And
mm,
this proof point that, oh, you can actually do this. So mainly why people follow you on social media is because you're providing value. And
mhm,
providing value is the most important thing. If people see whatever you're doing is valuable, whether you're on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, they're gonna come there and follow you. People meet you wherever you are. That's what I believe.
mm. Well, I don't even I let's see. I think I feel like I've taken up more of your time than we were supposed to. But I think I need to let you go because I think you probably have work to do today other than just sit here on this
Yeah,
call with me.
I wasn't complaining at all. Huh.
Well, yeah, so let me be a good host and let you go on about your day. So I guess the thing to say to people is go to Bandcamp, right? Stones Mayo on Bandcamp.
Yeah, they can find my music on Bandcamp and also follow me on all my social media platforms at Stones Moy.
Yes, Stonesmoyo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really have fun talking to you.
Okay, so one last thing, I'm putting out a song on my birthday on the 5th of October. So I
Oh,
just want to let people know that.
happy birthday.
So, yeah.
Very cool. That's a good day to have a birthday.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon, and I'm gonna go spend probably more than $1, but at least $1 on a building obsession.
All right. Thank you very much and for having me. I hope I'll be back here.
Yes. All right. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Same to you.
Bye. You've been listening to the Dear Business Coach podcast. My name's Elizabeth Walker, producer and host. Don't forget to subscribe to email. Thank you so much for being here, and find one thing today to move your business forward. Contact me at dearbusinesscoachpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, you are a superstar.